Michelle Brown.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm sure the Cabinet Secretary will agree with me that today's PISA results are disappointing for the government, parents and most importantly the children of Wales. The 2006 results showed that Wales was below average in maths and reading. 2009 revealed that we had performed lower in all areas compared to 2006. 2012 results showed that we had fallen further in maths and science, and although the score had increased in reading, it was still lower than figures for 2006. Now we have the 2015 results, and despite a slight improvement in mathematics, Wales trails behind Northern Ireland, Scotland and England in all three areas. It is particularly disappointing that Wales has fallen further still in reading and science. And again, I'm sorry to add, Wales falls behind its own record in 2006. Furthermore, England, Scotland and Northern Ireland are above the OECD average in all three areas, but Wales falls below average in every single category. Some might draw the conclusion that consecutive Welsh governments have failed, and more worryingly, this government is continuing to do so. Other countries are improving, so why can't Wales? It strikes me that not only should the Welsh Government go back to this drawing board, or at least think about it, and consider the future for children in Wales, but while it does this, it should open its mind to new ideas and a fresh approach. The Labour Party opposite are so stuck in their educational dogma of the 1970s that they cannot see how destructive their policies are to the children of this nation, and that they are devoid of new ideas. The government must divert from its current path of mediocrity and fear of competition. Only last week, the Cabinet Secretary responded to my colleague Mark Reckless, stating that he had, and I quote, come across from a system that believed in competition. The Welsh Government believes that the education system is based on a system of collaboration and cooperation. But competition is exactly what Wales needs. The education system should be based on an ethos.
Allow the member to be heard.
Each generation on bettering themselves, whether it is in a classroom or on the playing field.
I said allow the member to be heard.
We exist in a time where there is competition for places in higher education, the workplace and generally in all elements of life. So why not teach our children to be the best they can possibly be? These results also demonstrate that this government must prioritise core subjects in the classroom. It should reflect on the other areas in the curriculum where time can be better spent on maths, English and science. Let's move to a system which really does educate our children. We should allow existing schools to apply to become grammar schools and select according to ability and attitude. This will
Look, you may not agree with what the member is saying, but the member has a right to say it. Allow the member to be heard once more.
This will allow all schools, both selective and non-selective, to craft an education fit for their students, encouraging each and every child to excel in their abilities. A one-size-fits-all approach clearly is not the answer. We ask our children to have vision and aspire. I now encourage the Cabinet Secretary to do exactly that. Don't underestimate future generations. Have a system that gives them targets, permits league tables, allows them to compete and fundamentally gives them the opportunity to enter an increasingly competitive world with the best possible start in life. Thank you.
Allow the member to be heard. The member is now finished. Thank you very much for your contribution. Ask the Cabinet Secretary to respond. I'm sure you'll all be very quiet now.
Michelle, I had hoped I had made it very clear in my opening statement and in my subsequent answers to colleagues across the chamber that these results are not good enough. There is no doubt about that. It should also be noted that today the OECD has issued a stark warning to countries not to move to greater forms of selection within education systems, and with all due respect to your contribution, I will be following the advice of the OECD. But let's be absolutely clear. Let's be absolutely clear to suggest that we are not differentiating our teaching in school to adapt to the different needs of children is to not understand what is going on in the best of our classrooms. Good teachers know they need to differentiate their lessons. They plan in that way, they deliver their lessons in that way, and they make sure that each child performs to the best of their absolute ability. Now, that goes on in our best schools, but if we're honest, that is not going on consistently in all of our schools. And that's what we need to do to ensure we make progress. And that's why we will be introducing new teaching standards for the profession in the spring of next year. You say that we don't want mediocrity, and I would absolutely agree with you. I have no time for mediocrity in our system. I do not believe, like some say, that adequate is good enough. It's not. And I have no time for those who think that they are the finished article. Every teacher, every good teacher knows that they will be a better teacher tomorrow than they were today, because the biggest student in the classroom should be the teacher themselves, continuously reflecting on their practice, looking at international best practice, learning new techniques and new skills and incorporating that into their work. That's the very best of teaching, and that's what our teaching standards will expect of the profession. You say we need competition. I suggest we need competition like I need a hole in my head. Although after today, let me be absolutely clear. We know that high-performing education systems in the world rely on a system of self-improvement and collaboration and cooperation across the profession. Our best schools and our best teachers don't keep that practice to themselves because they are fearful of somebody coming up on the rails and overtaking them in a league table. They share that best practice. They share those good ideas, and they do so knowing that they can be generous with their skills and generous with their time and not have to worry about being overtaken by somebody on the flanks. We need our schools to cooperate, not to compete, because doing that will drive up standards for all.